and get out of the country. Yeah? That's the idea how I came, but now it's nearly, how many years? 20-something years, okay? But we're still here. So it's 19 years completed, and next year it will be 20 years. So, and you can see how that transformation happens and what we're going through. So, not so long ago when I look at myself, that's used to be like a little group like you guys might be having, where you recognize me as there. And some of these people have become professors and others are doing some other jobs, and when I look back on the years. So what chance has a guy like that has to make a company which is really big? Yeah? Very, very, very limited. In Australia, it's even worse, okay? And I'll tell you why. But if you look at yourself, some of you will become entrepreneurs down the line, I'm pretty sure, okay? Because life will bring those opportunities and few things happen. So it's not just job, it's not just about postdoc, it's not about, just the immediate next year that matters. It's the long term, the careers will shape themselves, and we'll touch a little bit on it. So obviously when I was there, I was worried just like most of you guys, where will I get a job? Who will give me the job? Will it be good enough? And all kinds of questions will be there. Yeah. Looking back, it looks interesting. Okay. So at the time, I was actually doing a PhD in aerospace and electronic systems, doing tracking of aircrafts, some stuff. Okay? It all looks cool, to do a PhD on. And you come out of that, and then you got to figure out, where you are relevant, and then take it from there. In this field, there are people who did biomedical engineering. Some of them, became defense scientists, things like that. So it's interesting just to give a perspective on the history. So I wanted to give a little bit of a perspective why I tried to start this company, so that it gives a context to you guys. But before I do that, I wanted to really pose an interesting question. I read an article called "Why Tom Did Not Kill Jerry." Okay, Tom and Jerry. Yeah? All of you love it. I like it too, so I still see it with my kids. Yeah. Let me show a little. So you see this regularly. So the Tom is an entrepreneur, and the rat is Jerry is your idea. You're trying to catch the idea. So what this is basically, it's hard to catch the idea. It is always painful, it hurts you, it hurts everybody, okay? Then you ask a question, and then you see this incredible behavior from Prof in a different article, yeah? This is another cat, not Tom, yeah? So the question is, why wouldn't Tom kill Jerry? Because if it's troubling it so much. So Tom's the entrepreneur, just as an analogy. Jerry is your company or idea. Okay? It hurts it, and I'll show you what troubles you have to go through to actually, make a company. Okay? It's not easy. Yeah? Tom is a funny way to look at it. So I have to get relaxed sometimes, right? It's very high tension scenarios. How do you get it? By looking at them and saying, yeah, this is how it works. So the reason Tom doesn't kill Jerry is because Tom cannot do anything else other than that. They need it. As much troublesome as it is, entrepreneurs are driven by having something that they need to live for. it's impossible for them to just sit in a room and, you give everything that you want, they still will go and do something. So there's an inherent instability there, which drives the entrepreneurs. Okay. A lot of people move from India, Sri Lanka, and other places in China, wherever people come from, to a different country. That's also, there's an element of entrepreneurship in there. Okay. Because you're okay at home. I mean, what's wrong with it? Yeah, we can live. It's not like you can't eat there, you can't survive there. You have this instinct of going to do something beyond what you want. And that instinct, when you magnify it, is what becomes, is an aspect of entrepreneurship. And we'll touch on some aspects of how hard it gets. Okay, when you go into that. I don't want to disappoint you down the line, but I'm giving you the reality check on what it means to be entrepreneur. Taking away the comedy out of it and just ask why I started a company. And this video was taken by Ernst & Young when they nominated me for the Entrepreneur of the Year. So I'll play it out so you get at least some motivation as to what drives me.
I'm Subhash Challa, CEO of Sense & Networks. We provide innovative solutions to business problems using video cameras. The idea came from me noticing that there are a large number of cameras being rolled out by businesses, government, and people in general. And I wondered if there was a way to extract the information that's already being captured by those cameras and use it to improve business processes. To that end, we have designed a platform called Sendiva, which mimics the way human brain uses eyes to see the world. Across Australia, our solutions are improving productivity and safety of parking offices and making roads safer. Internationally, we have transformed airport security operations in Abu Dhabi Airport and toll enforcement in India and Singapore. Sensen is demonstrating all the signs of achieving greatness as a company. Our software platform, Sendiva, is like the visual cortex of business, and we are continuously enhancing it to make it do pretty much anything humans can do with their eyes. What keeps me going when faced with challenges is the inspiration provided by my father, Rajareddy Challa, a great entrepreneur from India, and the clarity in my mind that I'm doing something extraordinary. My motto is, do what you love, and you'll never work a day in your life.
So that gives an idea why I started a company. These are the typical questions an interview like that would ask, okay? And it gives, so two things are going on. And in my case, it's particularly interesting because my father already was an entrepreneur. By the time he died, we are having like 4,000 employees in different companies. So I don't need to do another company. I mean, to just survive or to be even wealthy. Yeah? You had to really be doing it for something more than that. Yeah? So in some other cases, it's harder, because they are probably taking even bigger risk because they don't have any backing. But trying to do a company in Australia is almost like you have no backing. Whatever my father did in India, so it just helped me understand how business are built. But doing it in Australia with no capital at all and very hard to raise capital, it's almost like you're a first generation entrepreneur. You have pretty much very little to go with, but you had to fight the battle to get there. So I'll go into that journey a little bit. So how did it all start? So this is a time when I was working with Marlene in Melbourne Uni. We were postdocs, researchers, senior researchers, and it's just a pipe dream. We used to sit on a couch sometimes and say, oh, let's start a company, okay? Google did this, and Google this, why can't we do some company? Yeah, this is just a pipe dream. But those are important dreams for you to actually progress to a company, okay? Otherwise, you can't really do a company. If you're just worried about getting a job, you very rarely would do it. I'm sure you and Marlene dabbled a bit with the company, from what I know. For a few years, you went into a startup, you experienced a startup. I'm not sure, did you co-found the company or did you join the company?
No, with someone else.
Yeah, with someone else. Yeah. So you joined the startup to experience the startup. Founding is another layer. What is interesting about the date today, August 15th, is that's exactly the day I started the company. It's like an anniversary for us, okay? So when I got the request for August 15th, that's one of the reasons, even if I'm traveling, I said I'll go and do it, okay? Because it is like reviewing a little bit of what's going on. So we started it as a company called Reliant Technologies with money from family friends, okay? Like people like you know, if you pass out, you're doing a job, call up my friend and say, hey man, give me 10 grand, somebody else 20 grand. If they trust me, they'll give me it. So they gave me some money, okay? They thought I'd do something. And we were focusing on sensor networks, okay? That was something where I thought my technology would be relevant, and everything was wrong about it, yeah? The market's wrong, too early, it's just driven by academics, this real market's already taken, just wrong choices, everything's wrong, yeah? But just based on my achievements and my credibility as a scientist and whatever, people have invested. Like I could raise some angel investors. But I can go through that Q&A as to what it means to raise an angel investment. But we got that, and all of the money is wiped out. Okay? Just attempting a few things and you eventually run out of it. By the time I became a professor at UTS, because I was just doing it part-time, I closed Reliant, we incubated Sensen as a new company in UTS. But we still had some money left out in Reliant, so I kind of used it from the business perspective. But I could convince UTS to say, look, I'll do a startup. So if you give some funding as a startup funding and as a professor, I would guide my students and staff to drive towards a startup. They're all fairly encouraging at the time, so we kind of did that. And we restructured the whole thing where we absorbed this little thing into Sensei, and we started moving the market to which we had to apply. And it went into this video analytics market. It's not an easy decision, but it takes a lot of effort to kind of refocus. Okay? And then we spun off a new companies from UTS with equity to UTS. And we moved the headquarters to Melbourne because that's when Melbourne invited me back to Melbourne Uni. So 3 years I was there, 2004 to 2007. Only one goal was there: make a spin-off. Every student who was interacting with me is interviewed to see if the temperament is right for a startup. So it creates all kinds of weird dynamics in the university. It's not usual, yeah? You will be pillared if you do that, usually. I'm sure in Monash as well, but anywhere. Because usually it's not the way a professor behaves. Professor behaves like, you need publications, you need this, you need to show that you can be employed, this and that. I took a little bit of interesting risk there, and I said, look, there's enough papers we are writing, there's no point in writing any more of that. I don't see a big future for you guys writing these papers, so we might as well employ ourselves, okay? So if you want to be in the game, let's do it. Yeah? And interestingly, there are some quirky guys who will be there who would buy the bullshit and join, okay? Because they don't know either way. You're all impressionable minds, so it's easy to impress one way or another. But I very strongly believe that it's becoming too hard to be an academic in Australia. I mean, I had an unusual success, okay? I mean, I've never been a lecturer in my life, but I was a professor straight from postdoc. I never had a promotion, nothing, yeah? In 3 years I went, so I kind of had this unusual bypass, okay? But I don't think it's a repeatable process, yeah? Just an unusual thing that happens once in a while. So, but I can't give that as a guidance to my students and say, yeah, because I became like this, you can also try that. There are various reasons why I became. I can have a separate conversation on why I became that, but that's a different matter. But what is the pragmatic thing is that if you look at the number of PhDs getting out from the university, I don't see how you guys get jobs. It's just impossible, I think. There's not that many academic positions. Okay? It just overpopulated. When we were doing it, it was reasonable chance. I mean, you can apply somewhere and I could expect if you have done a reasonable work, you should get a call. Okay? And now I don't know how to pick because all are smart, okay? But there are not enough places, so it becomes hard. So we kind of motivated the students and the staff and said, whoever wants to work with me, just go after this. Okay? And we actually raised a little bit of capital towards the end of that exercise, and we spun out the company. And some of the students who really were bent on doing it became employees. So it's a true blue startup that going after a vision from a university with only one ambition, just go after it and do it. So that's how we became. And then you are inviting me after these 11 years and saying you speak on entrepreneurship. So it's an interesting point for me to reflect as well. But it's been an 11-year journey and it's not done yet because I don't consider myself successful yet. I'm successful in many ways, maybe compared to where you are. But in terms of achieving the goals of the company, goals of the vision we have set out, we're just partway through. We've done some spectacular things and I'll show you what we've done. But we're still partway through. There's more to go. So do you have the stamina to survive the 11 years? Okay, because it's going to be tough. Okay, 11 years is a long time. My kids were not even born at the time. Okay, now they're 10-year-olds. Okay, so they are seeing me going through this. Yeah, so it's going to be it's a very challenging task to do that. The second part of that question is you have to be ready for rejection. Because almost everyone will tell you why the idea is bad. Okay? And very few will even come close to telling you that idea is okay. Right? And it's not talking about just your colleagues, your friends, your everybody. Yeah? Your wife, your kids, everybody will say, why the hell are you doing this? This is crazy. If I'm a professor already, then I don't even need to do that, right? I can just earn my salary doing nothing almost. Of course, you have to mentor students like you, but really, you don't have to put yourself through a lot of stress to do that. So, and in my situation, even worse, because if I'm already personally wealthy, so I don't need to really worry about making any money. Okay? So it has to be some kind of a craziness. Okay? So there's this word that goes on in Silicon Valley and many other places, or when you are in the entrepreneurship, you have to be somewhat irrational to do entrepreneurship. You can't be rational. There's no rational reason why you would do entrepreneurship. Okay? And I'll go into a little bit of detail why that's the case. Okay? So, just continuing a little bit on the journey. In the process, I had PhD students, 10 of them. Okay, they completed a thesis, but almost every part of this thesis is part of the company. Okay? They all solved some aspect of the problem. Which tells you that's a much harder problem than what you originally thought of. Can you actually do 10 PhDs do you really need that many? Okay? I don't think we have still solved the full problem yet, but I'll get to that. I wrote a book in the process because I learned enough about it to write a book. I didn't write 10 books, I just wrote one because that's enough for me. I don't need to say any more because that book really is a comprehensive, theory on how to do object tracking. Okay? And that's a core technology we use in our company. Yeah? The fact that I wrote a book doesn't mean all the ideas are there to build a company, but it tells you the expertise is there. Okay? And then you need to have a bold vision and commitment and leadership. Okay? And all of that is driven to make a difference to the world using the technological expertise you have got. There are two ways to look at yourself and say, I have these skills, who can use it, how much will they pay for it? Okay? This is the employee view of the world. Okay? The employer view of the world will be, how do I create value in the society that will not only employ myself, but employ lots of people. Okay? That's one level above that. So it's like, are you selling your skills or are you creating value? When you're actually creating value, what you do is you improve lives of people. You save lives, or you make it more efficient, or more easy to do something. Okay? Less costly you can do this, right? That's the goal of it. But delivering that value is non-trivial. It's not like writing a paper. Yeah? You may think writing a paper is hard, yeah, from where you are. Writing a paper is nothing. Okay? I'm talking good paper as well, not talking like crappy paper in a conference. I'm talking. You think good paper, man, 20 times you have to read, your supervisor is never happy, you have to do 20 experiments more, whatever you think is hard. If you really have to save money for someone, that's even harder. okay, it's impossibly hard, okay? If you want to save a life, I mean, that's even more harder, okay? But you will only survive if you do that, okay? The company survives only if it generates value. I'm not talking about companies that are there to sell services. There are many companies that do engineering services, lifestyle, I call it as lifestyle businesses. People confuse that as entrepreneurship in the sense that we are talking. You can have a McDonald's, and that's also called entrepreneurship. People put money in it, people make money out of it. They run a McDonald's efficiently, so the profits are good and all that stuff. But we are talking about entrepreneurship, which is really about saying there's this a way to do business, especially technology related, and we are changing that in some fundamental way. And the change should be sustainable. It should live long enough. I'm employing 30 people right now in the company. Each one, on average, is $100,000 to $120,000 or $50,000. That means $3 to $4, $5 million must be generated by the company to pay salary. So that much must be saved by someone for you to, first of all, get that. So if you really think about a self-sustaining business, and that too doing it through technology really means that you have to solve a problem that truly solves the problem. So I had an audio interview one day with some guy asking me a question, Tom Pollard. Says, what's the difference between academic research and your commercial research? Academic research, you define your own problem, more or less. You read a paper, you tweak the assumptions of the paper and say, what if you assume this? Then you can write a good paper. You can then do nice mathematics, and if mathematics doesn't suit, you change the problem a bit more so mathematics suits. That's what you normally do. I don't know, is it what most of you do? You can be honest about it, it's no problem, because that's a game, okay? Is that true? Or you really going after something? Yeah? Maybe a little bit.
Might have done it, yeah.
Yeah. Most of it is all about those assumptions. And the assumptions are huge assumptions. Okay? They don't really apply in real life. You go and try to apply whatever your theory is in the real world, it fails. Yeah? In the commercial world, it doesn't matter what your mathematics is and what your assumptions are. You have to solve the problem. And they are so as simple as this. Okay? And I'll give you a very good example in Sensen when we start. Initially, we came out with a product which does license plate reading, automatically read a license plate when a car comes to the gate. Okay? It's not an unsolved problem. A lot of people have tried to solve the problem, but they're not done a good job with it. Or we were trying to say we'll do it with a very cheap camera while somebody else is doing with tens of $1,000 camera. Some hypothesis. This is an academic going to the commercial world without knowing what he's doing, yeah? Which is me at the time. Yeah. So we went there, we said we'll solve this problem. Now you make your assumptions, your theory, your mathematics, you write a code, you prove yourself in your lab, whatever it is, and then you go to the field. Yeah? And the guy whom you are trying to convince to buy is a parking officer who has no clue what your mathematics is, who doesn't give a shit about it. He just says, doesn't work, man. The car came, it doesn't read, that's it. Or it read only partially, that's it. He doesn't see anything else, yeah? So all your assumptions, whatever you do in mathematics, he doesn't care. He's not an academic to say, oh, this assumption is okay, and pass you, right? He just doesn't give you an order. If it doesn't give you an order, you can't pay your bills, yeah? That's the reality of the situation. So that's why an academic research trains you, but it's no way close to getting you ready when you go there. Okay? So when you guys go and join a company, there's usually a huge protection cover around you. There's a senior engineer and somebody architect, somebody else will be there. You're just joining at one layer, and they protect you from all that. Slowly, sometimes you learn and you start solving some real problems. But it's nothing like going in and saying we'll solve a problem, and it's not like your assumption. So that's a very important thing to understand when we are doing research. This is a totally different kind of research. Yeah. So I was just trying to see. Also, when you go into a company type environment, there are so many functions you have to do. The functions range from, for example, I just gave this idea that we had these family friends give the money, we incubated in UTS, and I absorbed Reline, I then spun off. How the hell do you do that? Because you have to give equity, you have to tell your friend how much share you are going to give, you have to tell UTS how much share you are going to give, or you have to tell them how much interest you are going to pay back. All kinds of rubbish you have to talk. Right? It's nothing to do with your technology. But if you don't do it, you can't have a company. Right? So there is so much you have to do on top of your technology. Just the deal making will kill you. Most of the companies fail because of deal making. Okay? But the deal making itself means you need teamwork. There should be people around you to support you. Okay? Because somebody has to take that burden of deal making off from your chest, and they need to do it. Who will do taxation? Who will do HR? Who will do payroll? It's not like you just start off your company and this is 99% of the work. Okay? 1% is what your technology is. You have to still worry about how to satisfy the parking lot guy to buy your system. But the rest of the business is what kills you, because you need to be making all those deals. So you need to inspire a lot of members to be around you who are long enough, which in my case is 11 years, okay, so that the vision still stays alive. Okay, and that's not easy as well. Unless you yourself believe that, you can't really make that happen. And you need to have unwavering confidence when things do not go to plan. Okay? Almost always things won't go to plan. And as I already see, I started Reline and I was closing. Now what will your friends say? Man, you told me all these crap stories and now you're closing the company. So how will you even show your face? Yeah? All these things are practical problems of a startup. Professor is one thing, but this is the real bit. Okay? And this is where you need to show the confidence and say, look guys, I screwed up, but I know I'm going to make it. Okay? Just hang in there. Okay? And never take money if the money is very important to your friends. Yeah? That's a honest advice. They always have spare money that they can throw away, and you tell them, forget about it. When I give you, I'll give you a good money, okay? But don't bother me in between. Then only you take the money, okay? I always told the friends the same thing. And that's always how it starts. Like you have seen in VC books or wherever, there's a first round of funding always comes from friends and family. But that's going to kill you as well, because you have to first time open up and say, I want some money, okay? How will you ask that? It's a hard one. No, we don't even ask money for normal things, so it's a hard thing to ask. And then if your company is failing because you made a wrong decision, in which you almost surely you can guarantee you'll make a wrong decision the first time, okay? You'll never get it right. And this actually brings me to another very interesting point, which is I just brought this just to show this is a business plans directory. Not that I'll go through all the business plans, but I just wanted to show you. Look at how many business plans I have. Okay, from 2005, 6. Previous ones I don't have a copy. I was trying to dig it out, but I couldn't get it. But you go into them, they're all like detailed plans, like capitalization tables and everything else. Yeah. So every year we're changing the plan, which means your original investor will come to you and say, why the hell did you tell that story before? But I said, no, that story was okay, but I had to keep changing the story, okay? But you change the story, then man, you don't know what you're doing, because you keep changing your mind all the time, okay? That's a problem, because if you keep doing that, you will run out of friends, okay? And that's where I'm saying that things always go wrong, and you still have to hold the ship, okay, together. And it's not, again, not easy. Yeah? So people ask yourself, I guess, if you are doing any business plan, write a business plan. Okay, we write a business plan, and 2 days later, the businessman changed because you just figured out the algorithm you thought didn't work, or the system doesn't work, or the market's not right, or whatever you are learning. Then you rewrite the plan. And unless you demonstrate the confidence that just leave me alone, I'll get back what I promise, okay? But that's a hard thing also to do. I just wanted to bring you guys onto the thing. And this one, learn to deal with rejection. Just a guess, right? How many investor presentations do you guys think I might have made?
1,000.
Maybe, yeah, you're pretty close. Every year, you have 12 months, and every month you have 4 weeks. Almost every week I would have met an investor, okay? Or two, okay? And you pitch, okay? And not that I've done, I mean, I do it in some phases, okay? But almost everybody will reject you, almost surely. Yeah? But some people have invested money in my company, okay? So you should have enough stamina to keep going and say, somebody says in your face, nah, you don't know what you're doing, yeah? And you should still walk away from there feeling fine. Okay? You don't know what opportunity you're missing. And you walk out from there, yeah? But that confidence is not easy to get. Most of you, especially people who have been fairly successful to come to a PhD, you are first rankers or whatever your schooling was, you must be doing well. To go in front of someone and they reject you again and again and again, it's incredible. That pressure can kill you, okay? And it can give you a lot of problems in your confidence and self-worth and all that kind of stuff. So that's that, okay? So you should know how to deal with rejection. Rejection means two things. Your plan's not just right, so you can modify the plan a little bit based on the input they gave as part of the rejection, or you can say that's not the right guy. Doesn't mean your worth is not correct. Yeah? That's very important for you to distinguish. Okay? And never compromise on what you set out to achieve. The moment you compromise, okay, you are dead. Okay? Meaning that compromise can be seen two ways. You say if you learn something to modify your way to go there is fine, because you're only fighting about the route. You want to get there, you know you want to get there. You know there's going to be gold out there if you get there. But somebody is saying cut through the hill, somebody is saying climb up the hill, somebody says go around the hill. The ways could be many, and you may want to keep modifying that. But you can't compromise on the very goal of it. Okay? If you compromise, then you might as well not do the company. Okay? You might just do something else. Right? Because the moment you compromise, people see the weakness, yeah? And you lose it anyway. Okay? Because people can sense that you are not sure. And if you're not sure, you don't do it. So you got to be sure. Now, so 10 PhDs, huge intellectual property, and an ability to deal with all this stuff is not enough. I had to put 2 houses online, which I sold, okay, and several $1 million from many investors, okay, to continue the vision. Yeah. So I just gave a little, insight into what that means. Australia is a pretty good place to do early stage work, okay? Early stage work means you are experimenting, you're prototyping. Government has these interesting grant schemes and ARC linkages if you know how to exploit them. All that there's some opportunity. I think an unusual opportunity compared to many countries, okay? But you have absolutely zero support the moment a company goes beyond that support stage. Meaning your idea is good, your proven idea maybe. Then you want to go to the next stage to say, become a self-sustaining business, right? You have huge challenges, okay? So, and I have found a kind of a interesting and almost non-repeatable way to get around those challenges. And I'm keeping on influencing the investors and government and saying, guys, fix this problem, because you can't let this, emerge and then kill it. Yeah? That's how it is at the moment, more or less. So now going from that, the difficulties which I have shared with you, this is a grand success we have been having. Okay? 2007, we spun out from UTS with some seed funding. This is how I will present it. Yeah, I wouldn't tell the other story to anyone. I'm telling you guys. If I go to an investor or if I go to entrepreneurs or if I try to present my company, this is how we pitch. Okay? We started the company, we spun out from UTS, we got a huge project in 2011 by Roads and Maritime Services, which is RTA. It used to be RTA in New South Wales. Okay? And then we got to Abu Dhabi Airport, we got Sydney Ferries, I got nominated for Entrepreneur of the Year. And then this year we are into casinos, the Singapore police, the councils, the real estate. Okay? So what do we do? I'll show you a few videos of what we do. Okay? But this is, if I just show this, it's a spectacular story, yeah? Just growing now, okay? But look at the hard work here. 2007 to 11 is 4 years of grunt with nothing, okay? Rejection, customer rejects, investor rejects. I had to keep my PhD students plowing through. Other guys have to keep doing work here, yeah? But you get your breakthrough, and once you got a breakthrough, it's slowly picking up. So what do we actually do, okay? Just from a tech point of view and other things, yeah? So we basically deliver accurate video intelligence, okay? It can be any kind of intelligence, it can be anywhere, it can be anytime. It's all about intelligence in video, okay? I was never from video. Like when I was doing my PhD or even after postdoc, whatever, I was mostly radar, sonar, that kind of guy, okay? But I learned the video all, okay, within a year, and then started changing the game, okay? But that's, PhD students help a lot, they cut out the crap and get me the most important papers, and that's enough, yeah? So we empower businesses through video intelligence, okay? Which is basically the same statement. So these are the types of customers that we deal with. So let me play out a couple of videos to give a sense of the kind of stuff we do.
Video cameras are everywhere, but until now they've only been as effective as the human eyes interpreting what they see. Companies worldwide have been racing to develop technology able to intelligently interpret camera vision in real time. Leading that race is the newest player in the field, Sen Networks. Sen has secured contracts worth millions both in Australia and internationally ahead of the established global companies. Sen's competitive advantage is its proprietary Sendiva software. Like the visual cortex of the human brain, Sendiva scans, analyses and interprets incoming vision and fuses it with other sensory data to deliver insights its competitors can only dream of.
In creating this technology, our aim was to build clever, low-cost software that can use video cameras to improve business processes and productivity across a wide range of industries, including law enforcement, security, retail, and transportation.
Sendiva can detect moving and parked vehicles, determine length of stay and illegal parking, facilitate traffic enforcement and toll collection, and even detect and raise alerts about wanted individuals and vehicles.
Today, our technology can count how many people are on the shop floor, track them, determine how long they've been looking at different products, their queue lengths at checkout counters, and far more. Our vision is to continuously enhance our software to make it do pretty much anything humans would do with their own eyes.
There is no other system with the level of accuracy, flexibility and comprehensiveness of Sendiva. and it's changing the way people, business and governments are using their camera networks. Sen, it's everything you need to expand your vision.
So that gives you a bit of an overview of the capability that we have built up. So we're serving people from National Highway of Authority India, we do casinos. I'll show you what we do in casinos just as a teaser, and then we'll go into Q&A. So this is a casino gaming tables. So we analyze the betting patterns and the amount of bets placed and everything automatically. So we tap into the video and we tell who is winning, how busy is the table, how long a guy is staying on there, on the stuff, automatically, no human intervention. Yeah. And this goes back to all your algorithms and everything you're doing, but delivering it as a product is challenging. Yeah? So that's what we do in casinos. For city councils, we do asset mapping. So we have a vehicle with a camera on it. You drive past all the signboards and everything, it automatically tags them and puts them onto the map, and it gives them an alert saying that, some signs are missing. Okay? This normally takes a long time. A civil engineer has to go and note down where the assets are to a GPS co-location. But this one, you just drive the car and that's it. It does the job. Yeah? Like that. It's just 80 kilometers, 90 kilometers an hour. It picks up all the major signs and that's how you do the job. So if you go into a retail store, a lot of retail stores are using this right now. So this is like a queue length. We'll tell a dynamical view about how queues are building and going. This is the counting of people coming in and going. This is a new promotion they might have put. They want to know how much traffic they got and how long they've been looking at it. But it's all running on existing cameras. You just tap into it and get the data. And this is like, if you look at the bottom here, this is basically you tap into existing cameras and then you count people. Like this is Sydney Ferries. Every boat has our camera, okay? So we count people and give a live statistics. So they actually schedule the ferries, how many, you need to send an extra bus or extra train, that's okay. This is the live data that it. So it's just to give a sample of the kind of stuff we do. And so there's no basic limit on what you can do. You basically, we've built a platform to a point where people can just demand and we just do. So I think we'll take some questions now on the thing.
Well,
Yeah, I have a question on the business plan. How many, each year, say you do at least once, so how many people involved in the business plan and what are the amount of time taken to complete one?
Actually, we didn't do every year. We're doing every week.
Yep.
And I'm just consolidating all that into one file, right? So what it means is it's an ongoing process. I think in the more recent years, like in the last couple of years, the business plans kind of stabilized. But before that, it was just a chaotic, everyday development. And the people who are involved in the business plan are largely the entrepreneur himself who conceives the idea or who thinks that there is a demand. And then you have either your CFO or some consultants who can sometimes help you in understanding the market better than yourself. That's the way.
anybody else?
Hi, so this is regarding your very first client. So I know once a company is started up and it's a really good challenge to find your very first client. And in that aspect, what are your methods and how you make sure you satisfy or change your mindset of the clients to work with them?
So there are two views there. So let me give what happened to me and then I'll tell what generally happens. First clients are almost surely going to come from whom you know. Okay? You got to have a hook somewhere who will believe you for what you don't have but you say you will do, and they'll give it to you. Okay? And you better make sure that you don't screw up that deal. Okay? If you do screw it up, then you have a lot of trouble trying to get out of it. So your first deal is always going to come from personal credibility. If you're a pure techie, meaning like you're not a real sales guy, then you will need a partner who is a salesperson, but his credibility, his or her credibility will be online. That's how you'll get your first customer. And after doing that well, you can use that as a reference and get a second one. But yeah, so and also one of the things most people do wrongly, the danger in that approach is that your mom will give an order no matter what. Yeah? It's your son, so she will buy anything you do. So your friends are like the same way. They will buy whatever. Okay? So your first customer doesn't represent the demand in the market. Okay? So you really need to prove that there are enough of them to guide yourself. And the third part is one customer cannot help you design a good product. You need a bunch of them to tell how to design it. And you inevitably design your product or deliver it or build your product through your first customer. You can't develop a product in a lab and sell it because you don't know what they really want. Okay? But you kind of go there and say, hey, I think I can do this for you. Tell me what you want. And then they'll ask for some tweaks. Based on that, you do it. Now, is that tweak a good tweak or is it a bad tweak? You don't know that. Right? You need to have a few of the customers to tell which one is a good tweak and which one is a bad tweak. Yeah? So you need to establish demand. So that's what drives some of your R&D to say which type of problems you need to solve. So the first customers are going to come from who knows you, okay, and who is going to believe you. If you don't know anybody, at least you should be able to. I mean, in Australia, I didn't know anybody. Yeah? I didn't have any mom or brother to give me an order. I had to still go get my first order from unknown people. But you build a bit of trust with them by talking to them, and they had to make the final punt and say, okay, I'm going to give this, okay? And sometimes you might have to take it saying, look, I will give you the fully developed product, and you pay me only if it works. So you take a risk, but you take an order along with you, saying, but if it does work, you have to pay. And so a lot of people are willing to risk that, okay? Because they'll say, okay, that basically tells, do they need the product or not? If they need the product, then they're saying, I don't know whether you're going to do it. So I better do it and give it to me, then I'll pay. So that's the way.
First of all, thank you very much. It was really great product.
Yeah.
In this market, I think that you have a lot of competitors and
Yeah.
a lot of other people who is competing with this service. So how do you find the new ways of finding new customers and
This is an incredibly competitive area, okay? I mean, I didn't realize it when I got into it. I kind of realized it a bit later. But the main thing that I can say is that competition is a lot, but they are weak. And why they are weak is this, and I kind of took some time to figure that out, okay? Why they are weak is because they're all professors, usually in this field, okay? The other fields which are more different, like where the people come from a different world. Computer vision is something that every professor has done some work in, okay? And every student has an assignment, okay? So everybody thinks they have got an idea, okay? And everybody has a mom or pop or someone to help them start off. And if you have a bit of a high-profile professor, then you will even get some money, okay? Or even a young, sharp, mind, you might attract some money because this is very easy to sell. Because you can say, wow, if you can do anything with the camera, man, that's great. Oh, anybody likes it, yeah? So innate demand in the market is very high. So lots and lots of companies started. And I would put it maybe over 100 that I actually went and did a research on who is doing what and all that. Between that 100 companies, they have blown $1 billion in VC money also. And there is no single name you can remember. If I say, tell me a video analytics company that is a brand, yeah? Like an IBM or a SAP. I don't think there's any. There are 1 or 2 here. Always they'll come up and go, okay? Or they try to remain very small. And the reason for that is that they ran into these few problems. What works in a lab is very, very hard to make it work consistently, reliably in the field. It works in the field when they are around, okay? When they're not around, it doesn't work, okay? And that's a problem. You can't be there for every installation you do. Right now we have 2,000 cameras that are doing something intelligent, okay? Very intelligent. Not intelligent in a trivial sense. Reading, counting, tracking, these are all very sophisticated functions. And so so what people have done is because they couldn't deliver, in fact all our projects today, okay, except the new ones I've got in casinos, all came because somebody failed in delivery. And we fixed it. We fixed the problem. So your question about how did we get our first few customers? First customers came where somebody bought something and it failed, and I took a chance and said, okay, I'm going to give it to you. That's one. And second problem is, just by doing one feature of analytic, like saying you want a people count, and just on people counting there are 20 companies, okay? That's all they do. They do nothing else, yeah? There's no number plate, there's no parking, there's no nothing, yeah? The problem is customer requirements are very broad. Count, track, dwell time, queue length, number plate, recognize a man or a woman, all kinds of things they need. But you can't service them because you're only selling this gadget, which is counts people. So we took on the competition because we could give a complete platform that scales. It's a hard one, but the trick for us is how do you deliver consistent accuracy across all the features all the time? That's not easy. That's why it takes 11 years to do and 10 PhD theses. It's not a quickie thing. You were asking a question.
Regarding to your first funding, you approach families and friends. How hard is it to get money from them?
From family and friends?
Yeah.
Depends entirely on you. because they'll give you money, depends on whether you will abuse it or you have your history, right? So as a child, when you're growing up, you would have made an impression on people. That's what counts. In the end, people have to trust you to give you. If you have a brother and your brother got it, you can fight saying he got it, so why can't I get it? That's also a way to get it. You will get it sometime, right? But you will instantly lose it if you are not really managing it. Yeah.
So it wasn't from the product that you developed that you were trying to impress them, but it's more about the relationship.
The fact that I was a professor very quickly and I know that I'm really good at what I'm doing, they'll say, okay, this guy will figure something. They don't know what I'm doing. Even today I asked my mom, if she also explained what I do, okay, to her. I don't think she can explain. She struggles with it. She says, what do I tell her what you do? I said, I don't know what you do. So the best she can tell is, CCTV cameras, that's what he does. I'm sure I'm doing other than CCTV, but that's the closest you can. So they don't know why they give it. They just give it to you because they like you. That's all.
Maybe a last question? Oh, I have one. Oh, sorry. No,
Okay.
please, Leon.
Do you think the idea is more important or the management of the company is more important?
What was that? The question? What is the first part?
Do you feel that the idea is more important, or is the management of the business more important?
I would say management's not more. Idea is essential. It's like a fundamental. It's like you don't exist without idea. But a lot of ideas don't make it because management is the problem.
So was your first idea was in video or was it something else?
Something else.
And then you changed your idea?
I just video is an application domain where the demand's high. If we solve the problem properly in video, you'll make a lot of money. But nobody solved the problem well in video. But I was already a leader in a field, like tracking and data fusion is a field I was in. And the USP of tracking and data fusion is accuracy. You can deliver accuracy almost on demand. But you need to know how to do it. And then apply it in video to systematically do it. That's the trick.
Well, Professor Challa, thank you very, very much. That was an amazing talk, amazing technology, and amazing journey, how you've overcome so many obstacles. Thank you for sharing all of these things with us.
Yeah.
And
Thank you.
just as a small, very small token of our appreciation, please.
Thank you.
Thank you for coming down.
All I want to say is don't get disheartened by it. It's a fantastic journey. That's why I'm still on it. And it's still continuing. I hope you will hear more about our company. But thank you.
Chamas, did you want to?
Yeah, we could. But so once again, I thank everybody for coming over for all the events organized as part of Career Development Program. And this is going to be an annual event, so this was our very first event. So I hope you will join in hands with us with the future activities. And also, if you like to volunteer, please join the committee. And yeah, the AGM will be in late November this year. And yeah, good. Yep. Yep. So anyway, we do have casual meetings on every Friday. So just pop in at 5 o'clock into the department room in case you're interested. All right. Thanks a lot.
Thank you.